Hello, coolers. Welcome back to Viva Barca and welcome to the home of everything Barcelona, where we are going to be discussing on some interesting updates. We start with President Joan Laporta, who have recently picked out problems with the Super League and explaining how it can be better. We are going to be discussing on what he said as we progress. Then secondly, talking about Pablo Torre, it has been reported that the Barcelona youngster is in line to make his La Liga debut against Celta Vigo. We are also going to be discussing on that. So guys, before we get right into it, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. Turn on the post bell notification to always stay notified whenever I post a new video. Consider liking the video and please watch it right up to the very end. Barca! 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 It is out in the open that Barcelona were amongst the three primary European clubs that supported the European Super League alongside Real Madrid and Juventus. As a result, club president Joan Laporta's reluctance about the competition taking place come as a surprise. He said, "I think that playing the big clubs between us would always tire. It would end up tiring," he says. Laporta continued by saying, "Those of us who like football would end up tiring us. It is nice and healthy that a smaller team beat the big one. Going with a weak is very nice. You find that the European Championship is won by Greece and it is very nice. And when Leicester won in England, it was special. This is football." The Barcelona honcho also went on to explain why a breakaway league structure is a facet of the Super League that he opposes. He said, "I have entered the Super League as Barca's representative with everything already well advanced. My criteria was, leave you with a close league. We have to make an open Super League that there is meritocracy. And another thing that we have to combine is the Super League with the leagues of each country. For me, that is very important. I believe in the leagues of each country, and for me, it would be a mistake for the Super League to replace the leagues." President Joan Laporta also gave an insight into his ideal iteration of the Super League, saying, "An improved Champions League with a very good competition format, which will surely be the most attractive competition in the world, but at the same time, you have to be skillful to maintain the state leagues. This is essential." Wow, strange words there from President Joan Laporta. Of course, trying to talk about some of the disadvantage you think about Super League. And this comes as a surprise because we all know Laporta have been one of the big brains behind getting the Super League to a higher height, getting the Super League promoted. And this recent interview about picking out the problems with Super League, explaining how it can be better, it comes as a surprise to me, honestly speaking, because but I don't think that does not mean Barca will not be part of it again. Laporta is just giving a suggestion on what he thinks, how things could be better, but not meaning that Barca want to be excluded from it. Of course, Barca, Real, and Juventus have been the three clubs that have been there from day one. We know all the English guys, they run as just as soon as the fans started protesting, saying that leave the league and everything like that. All the English sides had to disappear from it. But Barca, Real, and Juventus are still the only three teams there. So they are hoping that they can revive the league with time, hoping that those other big boys in Europe will join eventually. But it's a process, it's not something to rush on because UEFA themselves are feeling intimidated by that. Of course, the pioneer of all this is Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. Florentino Perez is somebody who does not panic. When Alexander Severin, the president of the UEFA, the UEFA was trying to he wants to make things frightening them about the Super League, Florentino Perez was just calm, and at the end, what happened? Have they penalized Barca, Real, and Juventus from playing Champions League? Definitely no. They are still there playing the competition. When Perez was telling the English clubs that don't run, but they run. So it's still something, the project is still down. It is not over. It's far from over because Perez has a lot of plans with it. Laporta is still there. Of course, I kind of accept the fact that Laporta tried to pick out some of these problems, which I think to an extent is true. Normally, it is something subjective. People have their own ideas, their own opinions about things, right? Because the Super League, the idea about it is the big boys in Europe get to play frequently than in the Champions League. You know, the Bayern, Barca, Real, Juventus, like you see the big boys playing, like it's not, like normally when we see big boys playing, it's not all the time. Because most of the time, a big team meets a small team, people will expect the big team to normally win that game. But the Super League have the idea of, okay, big boys will be playing against big boys week in, week out. And some fans have never been happy with that format, right? So let's see if actually something will change or what Laporta just said about it will impact Florentino Perez and the other guys behind the scenes to do an adjustment there. But to be honest, I very much doubt if that will be the case. So let's see how it's going to look like. Then moving on to the next story of discussion. According to journalist Tony Juan Marti, Barcelona youngster Pablo Torre is in contention to make his La Liga debut for the club tonight when they face Celta Vigo. The 19-year-old joined Barca this past summer, arriving from Racing Santander with the reputation of being one of the most exciting young talents in Spain. The attacking midfielder had helped Racing earn promotion back to the La Liga 2 last season before moving to Barcelona. Early indications were that he could be fast-tracked into the first team at Spotify Camp Nou, like with Pedri Gonzalez a couple of years ago. However, the reality has been very, very different as Torre has struggled to make inroads into Xavi's plans. The youngster has played just once so far for Barca's first team when he made his debut in the UEFA Champions League against Victoria Pleasant. There had been speculations that he could leave on loan towards the end of the summer window, but that did not materialize. The youngster had also earned reluctant to turn out for Barca Athletic, although he did make his debut for the reserve last month against Murcia. In light of the recent injuries to Frankie Sia and Frankie de Jong, there had been an expectation that Pablo Torre could be granted some minutes by Xavi, especially with a busy run of fixtures coming up for Barcelona. Antonio Juan Marti is now reporting that it will indeed be the case, as Torre is in the running to make an appearance for Barca in their La Liga clash against Celta Vigo today Sunday. It would mark the 19-year-old's debut in the Spanish top flight. With the final against Inter Milan coming up in the UEFA Champions League, it would only be natural for Xavi to be cautious with his regulars in midfield, that is Gavi, Pedri, and Sergio Busquets. So even though the young is in contention to feature, having returned to training this week, there could be more rotation, increasing the chances of Pablo Torre receiving his first appearance in La Liga. So coolers, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.